Hello, welcome to myairgunreviews.com. My name is Kenny and I have set up this website and dedicated it to the review of affordable air guns. We will review air rifles, air pistols, pellet, and BB. We'll let you know how much fun you're going to get for your money or how much grief. We will also review some accessories, some upgrades, and fixes. We'll let you know if your money is well spent or wasted on these things. So let's get started with our next review. Welcome back, everyone. Today we're going to put our Xisico XS-B28 air rifle back together. I cannibalized parts of it, super tuned a Ruger Air Magnum, and this is the original Xisico piston. Has an RWS piston seal on it, and the original piston had two shims in here like this, and a shorter piston skirt, which is, or piston sleeve, this piece in here, which is now in the Ruger. And I've added two more shims for a little bit more compression because this rifle has a shorter mainspring in it. So what we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to cut off this skirt right there. That way when it goes in and meets it, it'll have about a 1/4 to 1/8 of an inch recess where it should be. So we'll start out by doing that. Nice fine edge there, so nothing for the spring to grab onto. I feel a little burr there, so. Want that as smooth as can be. Okay, we have the paper towel here. That's all cleaned up. Okay, now we have taken off our scope mounting rail, so we have no screws sticking through to grab the piston seal when we put it in, and we're going to replace this rail with weaver mounts. Okay, we have the rifle all back together. You saw the two modifications I did to it. Now let's take a look at the rifle itself. The rifle comes with open sights, and they are iron. They are not true glow. You can see the screw off cap for interchangeable sight pins. And it also has a metal rear sight, just a notch blade. There's no true glow dots on it. It's adjustable with your finger for elevation and a screwdriver for the windage. The rifle comes with a dovetail scope mount. This is the scope mount that I have taken off. I have actually put a set of small weaver mounts on it. You can see right there. And it's got a wood stock, but you know, it's got some embedded checkering on the forearm and the grip area. It has a raised cheek piece for a right-handed shooter, and it has a nice ventilated rubber butt pad. And it also comes with the T05 trigger. Okay, this rifle, the Xisico XS-B28, comes in 177, 22, and 25 caliber. I've got a 25 caliber barrel for it. I tried it on Ruger Air Magnum, it did not work. I tried it on this, it did not work. I got some decent muzzle energy out of it, over 24.5 foot-pounds of muzzle energy, but you couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. It's just a bad barrel. But I'm sure if you bought this air rifle from Archer Air Guns in the 25 caliber with the factory 25 caliber barrel, it would shoot just fine. This rifle is cousin to the Ruger Air Magnum. Virtually every piece is interchangeable except for the front sight. The front sight sits on a grooved rail, and the Ruger Air Magnum has a tapered right here for the sight to press on and a set screw to hold it. So that's the only thing that's not interchangeable. The bluing is just kind of so-so on this gun. And the stock, in my opinion, is too petite. The stock on the Ruger Air Magnum is thicker. The stock comes all the way up to where my thumb is on the Ruger Air Magnum, and it's thicker in through here, and that stock just holds better than this one does. I found it a little bit difficult to get the proper shooting position because of the way the stock is built. This stock is interchangeable with the Ruger stock. I think they need to make a heavier stock on it. The trigger, it's fairly smooth. I like it. I didn't have any problems with the trigger. Just the way you got to hold it. This part right here, it needs to be bent down a little bit farther. It's just, I never really got that real comfortable grip using this stock. The Ruger stock's a little bit better for getting a uniform grip on the rifle, making this rifle very hold sensitive. Okay, as you can see, I bought this rifle used, and I used parts of it to super tune my Ruger Air Magnum, and then when I got the rest of the parts and the time, I put this one back together, making the extra shims, and it's probably got the equal of 1.5 shims more in it than when it came from the factory. And the piston seal that is in here, it had been shot maybe 75 times through the old Ruger Air Magnum with the old compression tube, and that tube was rough. And I felt a little roughness on the edges, but visually I couldn't see any defects in it, so I used it. I got some really varying results on the chronograph, both directions. Now, this rifle shot the RWS Hypermax pellets even faster than the super tuned Ruger Air Magnum. This rifle actually averaged 1,406 feet per second shooting the 5.2 grain RWS Hypermax with a 22.13 foot per second extreme spread. It gave us 22.83 foot-pounds of muzzle energy and 114.5 decibels. So it actually outshot the super tuned Ruger Air Magnum by about 7.5 feet per second with the alloy pellets. But shooting the hobby pellets, it only averaged 1,134 feet per second. There was a 38.74 foot per second extreme spread. only generating 19.99 foot-pounds of muzzle energy. But then on the other end of it, the heavier pellets, the H&N Barracuda 10.65, it actually averaged 1,025 feet per second with a 17.09 foot per second extreme spread, 98 decibels on the sound meter, and that delivered 24.85 foot-pounds muzzle energy. That's even more than I got out of the super tuned Ruger Air Magnum. But this rifle shot a lot of pellets, very, very crazy, you know, for extreme spreads. The Crosman Premier Hollow Point 7.9 had a 46.17 foot extreme spread. The Crosman Premier Ultra Magnum 10.5 grains had a 59.9 foot per second extreme spread. Yet with the RWS Superdome 8.3s, it averaged 1,054 feet per second with only an 8.81 foot per second extreme spread, 99 decibels, and 20.48 foot-pounds muzzle energy. So it's just kind of all across the board. Shooting the JSB Diablo Exact Monsters, the 13.43 grain pellet, we averaged 866.5 feet per second with a 14.15 foot per second extreme spread, generating 22.40 foot-pounds of muzzle energy. And I was able to get some good target practice groups in with that pellet, and this is the first rifle to do so with that particular pellet. I've never had a rifle that like that pellet until this one. You gotta hold them just right. Okay, I think I've got a grip that works, so it seems that I have to pull it back into my shoulder with my trigger hand and not using the forearm at all to hold the rifle back into my shoulder. So we'll try using the JSB Monster 13.43 grain pellets. Okay, this gun is very unforgiving with the hold, but if you get a consistent hold, you know, you see we got the last one up here. I have no idea what I did there, and then two here not too far away, and then the other 7 are just right there. In changing your hold, you really got to sight the rifle in for your hold. This is where it was shooting before I changed my hold, and this is where it's shooting now. You can see it's that much different. It's one of the more sensitive rifles I've seen to hold, but I have never shot a rifle with the JSB Exact Monster 13.43 grain that got anywhere near a consistent group as this rifle did. So like I say, it's the first rifle that was able to shoot that particular pellet. It's a very heavy pellet for a 177 caliber. Okay, to sum things up, I shoot so many different air rifles. You know, it's difficult to get used to holding just one air rifle. You can see I got a wall of them right there. And that doesn't include the Beeman Mach 12.5 sitting off in the corner. So everyone's got a different style of holding, and if this is your only air rifle, I'm quite sure you could get used to the hold. It would become second nature to you, and you could put everything inside the bullseye at 20 meters and probably a lot farther out. You know, shooting a number of different air rifles, I don't have that luxury. I think there are better rifles out there for the money. You come close to getting the muzzle energy out of the say the Hatsan mid-class air rifle. It doesn't have quite the cocking effort this one has, but it doesn't have quite as much muzzle velocity. The Tech Force 89 Contender, once I put the 22 caliber barrel on it, was kind of close to this one in foot-pounds of muzzle energy and much more accurate. But if you have to have an air rifle that puts out at least 24 foot-pounds muzzle energy and only have $150 to spend, this is probably your only option. This gun sells from Archer Air Guns for $149.95. They used to have a scope version for about $190, but the last I looked, all they sell is a high-end leaper scope on it, which is a 6-24 by 40 millimeter on a dovetail to Weaver adapter scope mount, and that's like $248. Like I say, if you looking for a $150 air gun with 24 foot-pounds of muzzle energy or more, this is about the only option out there. I would like to shoot this thing some more and, you know, see if I can get a shooting style that better fits me, or I could even try putting the Ruger Air Magnum stock on it and try it that way and see if I think there's just a little bit more curve right here on the Ruger stock, and it fits my hand just a little bit better. All in all, not a bad rifle for $149.95. It does have a lot of power. So that is my review of the Xisico XS-B28.